Bring yourself back online.
What's up, YouTube community? My name's HaxDogma. Thank you so much for joining me. As you can tell, I got a new microphone. Well, actually, I didn't get a new microphone. A good buddy of mine let me borrow his until an unknown time and period. But I've set up a Patreon to get my very own. So, without further ado, this is the Dolores Flashback Theory. Enjoy. It starts all the way back in episode 1 when Peter Abernathy has the panic attack and whispers. This, of course, being after the Reverie code was added to the host by Ford. This code allowed the host to draw from previous events to give the park further immersion. However, from what we've seen, the code is working too well, and hosts are now remembering more and more. At least the ones that have come in contact with the Violent Delights freeze. Then in episode 8, we learned one huge fact.
Your mind isn't like ours. When we remember things, the details are hazy, imperfect, but you recall memories perfectly. You relive them.
So this is what the theory is founded on. Dolores is actively traveling on a path alone, but she knows where she's going because of her memories, which are so real that she believes William and company are there with her. So in a sense, we're seeing parts of this through her perspective. In episode 2, we hear a voice whispered to Dolores,
"Do you remember?"
And then the scene changes to William awakening on the train, as if she was remembering a previous event. In episode 2, we see another flashback when she's standing in town. This is her in the present, and she recalls a conversation with Bernard.
Hello.
They talk about her being unique and her interactions. Then the scene ends, and the next time we see Dolores, she's with William, and he's picking up the can. Moving forward to episode 3, Dolores opens her drawer and finds a pistol. Then the voice comes on and says, "Do you remember?"
"Do you remember?"
She recalls the barn scene with the man in black. Then she comes back to the present, and the gun is no longer there. Meaning the gun was from a past occurrence. Then the end of episode 3, we see her ride back home and she gets grabbed by Rebus. She looks down at her father and this happens. She sees her currently deceased father and then remembers the previous version of Peter Abernathy laying there. They continue to the barn and she remembers an instance where she had the gun. She pulls the trigger and runs out and gets shot. Now this is where the one memory of the night sequence ends. So she just left the barn, gets shot, and then exits that memory. In the present, she is now adapted from the previous encounter and uses it to escape, where she will ride off into the distance, and then the very last scene we finally see her meet up with William, and this is where the real journey begins. Episode 4 starts and we see Dolores wake up and look around. She sees no one around her, and then she looks down, remembering the gun, and then turns to find William right behind her. This is the first time we'll get this hint delivered in this fashion. The very next time is in episode 5 when they reach the outskirts of Pariah. The scene opens with Dolores standing alone amongst the graves. The voice says, "Find me," and it flashes several scenes before she is once again standing with William and Logan. Now this is that sequence without the other scenes included.
"Find me."
Show me how.
It paints a pretty clear image, huh? This was the moment in the theory that I went, oh my god, she is on a journey to find this voice, and she's using the memory of William to accomplish said goal. But let's continue. Minutes later in Pariah, she's observing a coffin, memories flash on the screen, and then we can see William appear.
Are you alright?
Then at the end of the episode, we see them escape on the train. Dolores walks to the coffin, William and Lawrence sit down, and then the camera focuses on her panning out to where they were just sitting, and we can see that she's really alone. Episode 8 presents the last large piece of evidence. First we see William and Dolores on the beach discussing options for the dying man. Dolores stands and walks over to the river, and we see this.
"Come find me."
She returns to the present where she's just standing there alone. Then it changes back moments later, and we can see she's once again remembering the event with William.
He's gone.
Finally, they arrive at what she sees as a town, what we see as a town. But it turns out that this is just a flashback that she's having. And this is really this. Then the piece to wrap it all together as shown here.
Then when are we? Is this now?
She literally questions when she is, and if William is there with her.
Am I going mad? Are you real?
So those are the supporting scenes of the theory. But let's also take a look at Maeve. Both have the Reverie Code, both have the Violent Delights phrase, and we've heard it explained that she is reliving moments with her daughter. And because of the way hosts recall memories, it appears as though they are real as present.
One moment I'm with a little girl in a different life. The next time back in Sweetwater. I can't tell which is real.
So the scenes with Dolores are meant to show us this process through their perspective. That's why sometimes it does seem confusing. Imagine you personally walking down the road, you see some familiar object, and then you're suddenly teleported back to a horrifying moment in your life, and then suddenly transported back. It's shot in such a way that we feel the confusion that the hosts have. It's honestly genius. So there we have it, guys, the Dolores Flashback Theory. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to message me on here or Twitter. I want to give a shout out to Westworld Theorycast. Thank you so much for having me on. Great podcast. Also about the Patreon. This was created to upgrade the audio. However, please only donate what you think the content is worth. As always, much love, everybody. I'll see you next time.